What if I told you that the most life-changing discovery in modern medicine didn't come from genius, money, or perfect planning, but from a tiny accident on a forgotten dish in a quiet lab? What if one mistake, one moment of carelessness had the power to save millions of lives? In a time when infections silently claimed people every day, when simple injuries could turn deadly, and doctors stood helpless against bacteria, humanity desperately needed a breakthrough, something new, something powerful, something that could turn the tide. And yet, no one imagined that such a breakthrough would come from an ordinary young scientist who wasn't chasing fame, wasn't chasing glory, just chasing curiosity. He worked in a cluttered laboratory filled with glass bottles, old wooden benches, and stacks of Petri dishes that seemed endless. Most days were long and repetitive. They always smelled faintly of chemicals and warm cultures. He wasn't known for brilliance. He wasn't the loudest voice in the room. But he had something priceless: patience, curiosity, and the unusual habit of noticing what others ignored. He believed that every experiment, successful or not, had a story to tell. While others rushed through procedures, he took his time. While others saw routine, he saw patterns. While others threw away mistakes, he studied them. He didn't know it yet, but this habit would change the world. One particular day, after returning from a short break, he entered the lab feeling refreshed but prepared for the usual grind. As he sorted through his experiments, checking cultures one by one, his eyes stopped on a dish that looked wrong. Something seemed off. A fuzzy little mold had crept across the agar. Contamination. Failure. Normally, this dish would go straight into the trash. After all, contamination meant the experiment was ruined. But for him, something didn't add up. Around the mold, the bacteria that should have been growing in thick layers were gone. Completely gone, as if something had carved out a clean, invisible barrier around the mold. He leaned in, heart beating faster. The mold wasn't just growing, it was fighting back. It was destroying the bacteria. Something inside that strange growth had power. Power no one had ever recognized. Others walked past him in the lab, barely noticing. They wrote off the mold as a mistake, a spill, a useless accident. But he couldn't look away. He didn't throw the dish out. He didn't dismiss the failure. He pulled the Petri dish closer, his mind racing. Questions flooded in. What was this mold? Why did it kill bacteria? Could it be the key to fighting infections? Most scientists would have moved on. But he stayed with it. He studied it. He repeated the experiment again and again and again. Each time, the same thing happened. Bacteria vanished wherever the mold grew. Something inside that mold acted like a shield, like a soldier fighting microscopic battles. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. He worked late nights while the world slept, scribbling notes under dim lab lights, testing, isolating, refining. The more he studied, the more he realized this discovery wasn't small. It was enormous. It was groundbreaking. It had the potential to change medicine forever. Yet not everyone saw what he saw. When he first presented his findings, many dismissed it as insignificant. Just mold, they said. Interesting, but probably useless. He felt the sting of doubt, the weight of skepticism, but he pushed forward. He believed in the evidence in front of him more than the opinions around him. His persistence became his power. Slowly, the truth spread. His colleagues began to understand the magnitude of what he uncovered: an organic substance capable of destroying some of the deadliest bacteria known to mankind. What began as an accidental contamination became the foundation for modern antibiotics. The world would never be the same again, and it all started with one young scientist refusing to ignore an accident. This story is more than science. It's a reminder for all of us. Think about how often we get frustrated when things go wrong. How often we rush to throw away our mistakes. How often we ignore the little anomalies, the interruptions, the moments that don't go according to plan. But what if the very things we dismiss are the keys to our greatest breakthroughs? What if failure is not a dead end, but a doorway? Sometimes life doesn't give us perfect opportunities. Sometimes it gives us messy ones, unexpected ones disguised as problems. But miracles often begin where things go wrong. Success isn't about avoiding mistakes, it's about noticing what mistakes are trying to teach. U.S. The young scientist didn't discover greatness because he was lucky. He discovered greatness because he was curious enough to ask one more question, observant enough to look one more time, and brave enough to explore the unexpected instead of throwing it away. Imagine if you embraced your own accidents this way. Imagine if instead of getting discouraged, you looked closer. Imagine if you treated setbacks as signals, not failures. Where could that curiosity lead you? What problems could you solve? What ideas could you uncover? What breakthroughs might be waiting for you in the places everyone else ignores? Every great achievement in history began with a moment like this: one detail, one curiosity, one spark, one person deciding that ordinary wasn't good enough, that mistakes weren't useless, that small things matter. You have that same potential. You have that same ability to see what others overlook. So the next time your plans fall apart, the next time something unexpected happens, don't rush to abandon it. Pause. Look again. You never know, what feels like an accident might be the beginning of your greatest success. And if this story inspired you, if it reminded you that you have more potential than you realize, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this. Your next big breakthrough might already be in front of you. All you need is the courage to notice it.